Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, Executive Director of Klamath Film, and you just watched Matterhorn, a thriller shot here locally in Klamath County earlier this year and making its world premiere at the Klamath Independent Film Festival. With us is the film's director, Martin Hilligoss. Hey, Marty, thank you for joining us again. Always good to see you, sir.
Hey, good to see you. Thank you.
So you are no stranger to the Klamath Independent Film Festival. Last year you had 2 films in the festival, and once again you are one of only 3 filmmakers this year to have multiple films selected as well. Even though you're based in LA, you have strong connections to this area. So what is it about Southern Oregon that makes you want to make most of your films around here?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, but I still got the gist of it, I think, about uh, interest in Southern Oregon as a location for filmmaking. Is that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, growing up here, I obviously fell in love with this area and miss it as I don't live there anymore. And it just lends itself to a lot of creativity in my mind and to the genre of these sort of dark thrillers that verge on horror. The isolation that is able to be captured here um, is a big interest, but also just sort of to make things where I grew up is sort of a part of the craft, I suppose, for me, to that I feel comfortable there. So I feel comfortable telling stories and also just working with my friends who still live in the area is really fun.
So why did you choose Klamath Falls as the shoot location for this film?
Well, I mean, honestly, so much has to do, and I swear I am not getting paid to say this, is you and just everything that Klamath Film is doing. I knew that we would have a lot of help and success because basically, I mean, you what you were able to show us proved how open Klamath was to filming, and and the people were just so kind to let us film where we did, and you were so helpful as a liaison finding these locations. It just felt like somewhere I was interested in filming. I also hadn't done it before, and also Klamath. Growing up in Ashland, Klamath is just far enough away that it feels like a space that I can create in, as opposed to sort of like being the place I grew up in, which is kind of Ashland. And so Klamath feels like it's got all the good parts of local, but it's just different enough that it feels new to me a little bit.
Great. Well, this project was really minimal cast and crew, which I'm sure helped with trying to work with all of the COVID restrictions that were in place while trying to film in April. Any problems during the shoot or fortuitous moments that stand out? If I remember, we had a fluke snowstorm that threw a bit of a curveball during the
Yeah,
filming, but was there anything else that comes to mind?
you, nothing other than that really, but that was a little scary just because that could have thrown things off. But luckily, as snowstorms tend to do in Southern Oregon, sometimes it only lasted for a few hours and then we were good to go. So that was certainly a moment where we all sat down and were like, okay, of everything we have to shoot, how much is necessary for the film? How can we reallocate things? But luckily, it ended quickly and we were able to get back to work.
Well, maybe the snow was very apropos because the film title being Matterhorn,
Right.
where does that title come from? I'm guessing maybe it was the snow globe from the gift shop, but where does that title connect with the story?
So the title comes from the writer Brendan Brick. He wrote this original screenplay, and we've been developing it for a while. And the idea was that they are heading home, and they are going over basically like the Siskiyou Pass, sort of a fictional Siskiyou Pass, if you will. And as they ascend the elevation, basically the stakes of the film keep ascending, and so it's like they have to go over the hurdle of the mountain as well as the snow globe. But we also just found it to be sort of a metaphor for the mountain, that the stakes keep getting higher as the elevation keeps getting higher, as the snow becomes more prevalent, until eventually the ice and the snow are sort of what is some of the catalysts for the climax.
Okay. Now, I know that you won't be able to attend the Klamath Independent Film Festival in person, but what does it mean to you being able to world premiere a film that you have worked on in the town where you shot it, giving locals the very first viewing?
It means a lot. I mean, it's as cool as any local filmmaker can really hope to achieve. Really, it's such a great thing to have this community and this great festival right here in Klamath be able to, hopefully be a springboard for other festivals, and to have it be a first time for a lot of people to see this film, and just to premiere it in an awesome theater like the Ross Raglan is really special. And I really can't thank Klamath enough for sort of all these opportunities to showcase our work. It's really tremendous.
So, with the cast members, what was your favorite aspect of their various characters?
I think the contrast was really important between their characters, whether that's Bob, who dresses all in black, while Vern has color, and their relationship as brothers. Bob has money. Bob has a job. Bob is the catalyst for giving him the credit card, and Vern is sort of in this position that, and obviously a lot of this stuff is sort of implicit and doesn't necessarily come across in the movie, but this is sort of backstory stuff, is that Vern, he's a struggling musician who's always felt like he was secondary to his brother. And so he hates that he has to borrow money for him to buy a present for his own parents. And so that ends up being the catalyst. And so just sort of having these polar opposites, I think, was crucial. And then to have an event where Bob is suspicious but doesn't know what happened, and Vern knows that he's suspicious but knows that he didn't know what happened. And so it's sort of this bubbling until finally he finds out, and then the stakes change.
So, anything hit the cutting room floor from the shoot that just doesn't quite fit in the story?
Yeah, some stuff early, actually. Yes. So basically, stuff early on after he buys the snow globe, we have more driving where he looks at the snow globe and where he sort of has a moment. And I sort of felt like it was a repeated beat from what we just saw in the gift shop, which is a great location, by the way. Everybody's vintage is awesome. And so that hit the cutting room floor, as well as a few other things. But for the most part, I've actually was pretty impressed that what we sought out to shoot, for the most part, is the film.
And since you mentioned everybody's vintage, I'm sure the Klamath locals will probably pick up on it right away. But what were some of the locations that you ended up using in and around Klamath?
We were at the Back 40s Diner and the Gulf gas station, both owned by Janet and David Bavis, who were great, really, really helpful. I mean, it was just amazing to have, and also both of those locations are right next to each other, which
helps.
Story-wise is not what we want. So hopefully maybe some people will pick up on that, and hopefully others don't.
Yep. And then everybody's vintage, and then some of the shots.
Thomas, great, yeah.
And then some of the shots along the roads. Where did you shoot some of those exterior outdoor shots?
Most of the driving is all Dead Indian Memorial Road, and then the end climax is milepost 13 on Dead Indian Memorial at Buck Prairie.
Cool.
Which lended us a safe place to do that action away from cars. And the other thing about that location is we actually planned this around the full supermoon in April. And so we'd been planning this for a while because we knew that last ending scene, I wanted to do it in essentially one shot, and I wanted it to be all natural light. And we ended up getting that snowstorm, gave us a little bit of extra snow up there, which reflected a lot of that nice moonlight, and kind of all worked out for us.
Yeah, yeah. So aside from locals picking up on all of the spots where it was filmed, I'm sure that will be a big thrill to see Klamath locations up on the big screen. But what do you hope that people get out of watching Matterhorn?
In a similar way as The Traveler, I hope that sort of the morality dilemma is about a decision he's made because of his insecurity about his financial success in comparison to his brother, ends up setting off this odd tale of a murderous cook named Dale who wears a rubber mask. It's a very odd story, and something that I owe a lot to Brendan, who's a really talented writer, for. And I hope the takeaway is to not, this is an odd takeaway, but their story is not over. And this decision that he made ended up killing an innocent man. And so it's really a story of morality.
Well, thank you, Martin, for this film and for making a film in Klamath County. We always appreciate any time that film crews want to come to this area and showcase what we have to offer for filmmakers, and for joining us today. Matterhorn will be screened on Sunday, September 19th at 4:15 p.m. in our Southern Shorts category and available on demand all week. Thanks, Marty. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Take care.